This is how I found out that my friend of 5 years is secretly seeing my ex-boyfriend. And for the purpose of the story, I'm not going to name you. In fact, I'm going to give you the decision of whether or not you want to come onto the internet and tell everyone how you are friends with your friend's ex. Personally, that's not something I would, but you seem to have no problem doing that on your close friends. I was dating a guy who lived in my apartment building for 6 months. This story, however, it's going to be focused on her. I do want to recognize the fact that he did a lot too that contributes to this. However, I was only with him for 6 months and I've known her for 5 years. I want to say first off, I have never done anything to this girl prior to this. In fact, she had no problems with me, which is why she went on my birthday trip recently on January 23rd, which is how she gained any proximity to my ex-boyfriend. All the information that I'm about to tell you is something that I've learned within the past 24 hours. I was meant to hang out with my friend when she asked me, hey, are you hanging out with this girl? And I go, no, I'm not. She's like, are you sure? And she's like, oh, because her location has been at your apartment complex for the past 3 nights. And mind you, she wasn't actually the only person that came forward and noticed the fact that her location was at my apartment complex. There's 2 separate people who on their own saw that you were here. The first friend noticed the fact that you were here and texted you, hey, what floor are you off, to drop something off to you that you left at her apartment. And what do you say? That, oh, I met a guy last night and that's why I slept over here, when the guy was my boyfriend. And that is the first time out of many times that she lied about sleeping over at my ex-boyfriend's place. She says that she's just about to leave. So what do I do as a person that lives here? I go downstairs to the lobby. And I didn't want this to be true. I didn't want the information that you've been sleeping over at my ex-boyfriend's place. I didn't ask for any information. It was given to me. So I thought the best way to do this would be to straight up ask you as I waited in the lobby for you. Then another person come forward that has your location, knows the fact that the location moved. Meaning you left my building without going through the lobby, which means your only other choice was going through the residential parking. So then I go downstairs to the parking lot and my ex-boyfriend's car isn't there anymore. With your location changing, mind you, did not ask for this information, was very so politely given. I noticed the fact that it changed to a cafe that only my ex-boyfriend knows about. When all of a sudden you turn your location off. And when you did that, you just made it so much worse. An innocent person wouldn't do that. And when you were caught being at this cafe, you got a call from one of our friends, who also is and now was your friend. She calls you and says, hey, I just got told that someone spotted you with Sophia's ex-boyfriend. Would you ultimately reply and say, no, I wasn't at a cafe with Sophia's boyfriend? She also gave you about 5 times to confess to what you did, and you denied it every single time. At this point, you're caught publicly and privately. But that's regardless, because then you decide to text her afterwards, confessing to the fact that you were there with my ex-boyfriend. If there was nothing going on between you and my ex-boyfriend, would you have felt the need to lie? Right. That was the second time that you lied. That friend then tells you to text me. You text me saying this feels like high school. Who made it high school? Did anyone force you to be with my ex-boyfriend that I broke up with 2 weeks ago? Did anyone make you get that coffee with him? In fact, you didn't even respond to me when I asked you to unfollow him on Instagram. That's because that same man talked so badly about you that I thought he didn't deserve you as I defended you over and over. You may have not known that information, but you do know it now, and you can ask him about it. And then you confirm the fact that you're friends with my ex-boyfriend. And then you say that you're working with my ex and that this is not malicious towards me at all. And within that text, you bring up his roommate, meaning you were in his place. And if you were working together or for business, why didn't you say that? And why were you sleeping over? A question, who hangs out with their friend's ex-boyfriend? Did I do that to yours? But you made a very viral video calling out your roommate who did the same. So suddenly you have an issue when girls are hanging out with your boyfriend, but when you hang out with mine, it's fine. The point is, I broke up with my ex-boyfriend, not you. You are my friend, you owed me loyalty. So anyways, I respond. And this took a lot out of me. Couldn't believe that it was true. But I knew within my heart, I just needed to step away from this situation. Which I said to you, I'm not interested in the details of what you wish to admit or deny with me. My stance isn't based on one thing or one person, but evidence I've seen directly. From turning off your location, your inconsistent story, and being with him in private and public made this situation. This isn't about me wanting to control who you follow or who you see. It's all about being open on honesty and respect, which you don't have for me. I'm not asking for a back and forth debate on your experience with him. I've made my decision based on the information that I have. I wish you well. And him, but I'm stepping back from this. Does that sound like high school to you? Or does that sound like the most mature response I could have given you? It's more than what you deserve. Even though I made it very clear that this was not a conversation, you decided to reply. So then she says, I would have been very willing to have a conversation with you, but having other people track my location and the girl texting me to talk about Valentine's Day, which I genuinely want to talk about it just to get me on the phone, is very manipulative, and I would have been open to having a conversation. It really didn't have to be like this. You're right, it didn't have to be, but you lied to me and all of our friends, and you got caught. I want you to notice through that text, she did not address any of her actions. Why she lied to me, lied to her friends, and is sneaking behind my back with my ex-boyfriend and lying about it. But instead, she deflected and made it about me. Isn't that manipulation? After this, I block you because I realized that there's nothing I can say or do for you to learn, because this is not even the first time that you've done something like this. You have a pattern of being with your friends' ex-boyfriends. You want to admit that you did all of this? That's fine. I'll bring in the friends that you did that to as well. Then I put something on my close friends announcing that we're no longer friends. And again, wishing you the best. But you say, how are you going to block me, then announce on your close friends that we're no longer friends? Is that not true? We aren't friends. You made that clear. Then you say, yes, me and your ex are still friends, and now I feel zero remorse because you want to act like a little high schooler rather than your grown age of 24. At least you publicly admitted it on your close friends that you are friends with my ex. So people know I'm not lying. She says that she has no remorse about her actions, so do with that what you will. And you bring up my age. You were born a year after me. The man that you want is 2 years older than me. The final takeaway of this situation is this is why people don't like you. There are more horror stories about you than letters in your name. For that reason, I think you and my ex really deserve each other. You can play victim, but you're both guilty. Because of your actions on that day, you lost 4 girlfriends. I'm sure it's no shock to you because you've gone through more friends than anyone in LA. And as I'm telling the story time, no one who knows you is surprised. Everyone who's been through something with you came forward to me. This is just simply who you are. My final 2 questions to you is number 1, how is the almond latte? And number 2, how do I taste? I am joking, but you have done this before with your friend exes and you did sleep over, so I wouldn't be surprised.
Comb my hair with me to break up with my boyfriend. So yesterday I was over at his house and he was and so I went on his phone to add my friend on Snap because I didn't have my phone. We have a rule in our relationship where you can have girlfriends, but you can't make any new girlfriends. And I had just picked him up from a party and I see a video from this girl. And so I open the video and it's just like her like doing a peace sign with fireworks in the background. And I knew that like he didn't like her or anything. I went through their saved in chats, which I'm allowed to go through his phone, but he's always said I can't go through his camera roll. And I went through his saved in chats with this one girl and I saw a video of him vaping, which he told me he quit. That's a rule for me, like I'm not gonna be with someone that vapes or smokes or like does that type of stuff. So this may have been wrong of me to do, but since I was like, okay, he's already lying to me about stuff, like I need to go through his phone. So I do end up going through his camera roll and I'm scrolling and I see a picture of him laying down with 2 girls laying down on each side of his stomach, like right here, and him going like this. So I'm completely sober, but I wake him up and I'm like, you need to wake up and you need to sober up. So I'm giving him bread, I'm giving him water, and then I'm letting him sober up. But then I start crying and so he's like, did I do something? And I was like, yeah, you did. But since I was crying, I like didn't want to talk about it till I was done. So he like was freaking out. So that day that he had that picture with those 2 girls, I knew that he was with two of these friends, and I'm not gonna say their names, but I was like, what did you do at that friend's house with those two girls? And he was like, what do you mean I didn't do anything? Like, I told you I went to the car when they got there. And I was like, okay, so we're lying. And I was like, did you touch them? And he was like, I dabbed them up, so yeah, I touched them. Don't mind the baby crying. But then I was like, so you didn't do more than dab them up? You didn't touch them any more than that? And he was like, no, I didn't. And I was like, do you promise? And he was like, Emma, I swear, like, what's going on? And so I gave him a chance to be honest, and since he wasn't, I got so upset. And so before I gave him his phone back, I had sent the photo to me on Snap. And so I was like, hey, can you open like me on Snap and text my phone? And he was like, sure, what do you want me to say? And so he went to the thing and he saw the picture. He was like, are you talking about this picture? And then he starts lying more, and he was like, I sent that picture to you because I wanted to be honest with you. And I was like, I sent that picture to myself. Like, what are you talking about? And he was like, oh, well, I don't know. And then he starts crying, like, begging me not to leave, saying that, like, he needs me and I'm the only one that he loves. Just so much bull. Keep in mind, guys, this is like the only guy I've ever loved, so it's like kind of hard to like end things. And so he was like, Emma, I will do anything for you to stay with me. I won't go out for the rest of the summer. I won't ever hang out with those two guys again, which one of them is his like bestest friend ever. He's like, I'm willing to ruin my relationship with my best friend for you. So he's telling me how he's willing to do like anything to have me not break up with him. And again, since like I really like him, I set a bunch of rules, like how I need his Snap password and he can't hang out with those two friends anymore, and that he like can't go out at night unless it's with a friend that I trust, and just a bunch of rules. And it sounds kind of controlling, but he did cheat, so I feel like it's fair. So of course I was still like really sad, but I set a bunch of rules and I was like, you have to do all this. And he was like, okay, like I'm completely fine with it. And so we were fine. And then today I was very upset about it again, and I saw that he had deleted the photo that I sent to myself. So this morning I was like, send that photo to me. And he was like, no, like it doesn't matter, like you're acting like I like hooked up with them. Which like, he said that he just took that photo because they like asked him to flick up, and he was just like whatever, like he was drunk, but that's not an excuse. So I was still like upset with him this morning, but then now he's like upset with me, and I'm like, what did I do? Like I didn't do anything wrong, because he left me unopened. Like with my chat, it just said me saying okay, and I was like, why are you leaving me unopened? I didn't do anything. And he was like, I don't want to have the conversation because I know how it's gonna end. And I think he means me breaking up with him. And so I call him, and I'm like, tell me like what's wrong? And he's like, I really don't want to talk about it. And I was like, we're gonna talk about it. So I told him that I'm gonna get ready and I'm gonna go pick him up, and we're gonna talk about it. And so I'm like 99% sure it's gonna end up in us breaking up, but even though I'm gonna be really sad, it's okay, because I know that I deserve better, and I know that eventually I can find better, but I'm gonna focus on myself first. Okay, here's the final look. Keep in mind, this is the same guy that constantly bought me flowers, complimented me all the time, basically did whatever I said, and always tried to make me happy, so just keep in mind, don't trust guys, like, ever. Okay, part 2 on how my boyfriend cheated on me. I just want to start off by saying we did break up. And if you haven't already watched, like, the first part, I would do that first, so it's less confusing. Okay, so I found the picture in his phone with the girls when he said that he was at his friend's house, right? I ended up finding out that that was actually one of the girls' houses, and he stayed the night there. So a couple nights ago, I texted him and I was like, I need you to tell me that girl's last name, whose house that he stayed the night at. So he tells me her last name, and I go to look her up on Instagram, and I go to like her tagged, and I see that one of my bestest friends went to prom with her. So I text my best friend and I'm like, hey, what do you know about this girl? Like, my boyfriend spent the night at her house and I just want to see, like, how is she? So my best friend was like, she's super sweet, like, if he did anything, she'll give it to you straight. She's a girl's girl, she won't lie to you, and all this. So I end up following her on Instagram, and a couple minutes later, she adds me on Snap. So I accept it, and I text her, I'm like, hey, I have a question. And she's like, yeah, what's up? So I'm like, I just want to start off and say, like, I'm not mad at any girl, but this is what my boyfriend told me what happened, and I'm just asking if there's, like, any more to the story, or if he did anything with any girl. She was actually hanging out with the other girl that was there that night when I sent her the voice message. And so that girl is, like, on her phone sending me a voice message back, and she's like, I'm not gonna lie, like, he is lying to you, like, big time. And she tells me everything that happened. So she was like, we did make out, and she also said how she gave him and he her. So I call my boyfriend and I'm like telling him everything that they told me, and he's like, bro, they're lying to you, like, none of that happened, all this, all that. But this has happened before, like, people have told me something before, but I ended up believing him in the end because he was just very convincing. But it's the fact that my best friend knew these girls. I knew that they weren't lying to me. So he won't stop denying it, and he actually starts getting mad at me, and he, like, is playing victim, getting really angry at me for not believing him. And I'm like, stop playing the victim, like, I already know. And then his best friend texts me and is like, hey, what's wrong with, like, my boyfriend's name? And so I told him, I was like, I just caught him cheating. And he, like, played surprised at first, even though he was literally there. And I was like, I know that you know. The girls told me that you told them not to say anything. And he was like, actually, I told them that you should know. So that was enough proof to show my boyfriend that even his best friend admits that he did do stuff. So I sent him a screenshot of his best friend saying that, and he immediately stops playing victim, and he's just like, okay. And he was like, give me my stuff back. If you don't, like, you have it coming for you. Like, whatever that means. I really don't think he would have done anything. I think he was just angry that I found out. But I ended up calling him and, like, asking him just more about it and stuff. And I asked him if that was his first time. And so, of course, he lies, and he was like, yeah, that was my first time cheating, like, blah, blah, blah. So I asked his friend, I'm like, hey, be honest, how many times has he cheated on me? And he just sent, like, a sticker back. And so I knew it had to have been more than once. I already did have a feeling, because we have broken up once before, because these random girls, like, texted me and told me how he was cheating and stuff. But he ended up convincing me that they were lying. And then the girl that he did stuff with texted me again and was like, by the way, he also got from another girl, and she told me her name. And so I asked him about that, and he was like, I don't even know a girl named that. And then my boyfriend ends up admitting that he did kiss a girl, which she was one of the girls that told me he was cheating on me a couple months ago when we broke up. So she wasn't lying about that. But they also told me that he got it from a girl. And I was like, is that the girl that the other girl just told me about? He was like, no, they were lying about that. So eventually his friend was like, alright, I'll tell you what you want to know. Like, what do you want to know? So I asked him if it's true that he also got from that one girl, and he was like, yeah, we ran a 2-man. He was like, also, by the way, he would try to plan 2-mans all the time, apparently. And this whole time, like, I did not like this friend that is telling me all this right now, because my boyfriend always told me that he was the one trying to get him to cheat and stuff. But that wasn't entirely true. So those are the 3 times that he, like, full-on cheated that I know of. But I also know that him and that friend went on a 2-man another time, because my boyfriend just invited these girls over, but his best friend, like, wouldn't let them leave the room. So I don't think that they did anything, but he did invite them over. And he was just apparently unloyal throughout the whole relationship. It's just like kind of hard to like process right now because he really didn't show many signs. The only signs that like I thought of him cheating was when those girls randomly told me. And he does lie a lot, but he was like a good boyfriend. Also, like that girl from a couple weeks ago when they did that stuff, she didn't know that he had a girlfriend. He told them that he was single. And she also told me that like he FaceTimed her like a couple nights after that, like every single night. And it's just like really hard right now because like he keeps saying how like he's really sorry and he regrets it a lot and he's sorry that he hurt me and like just how he loves me so much and stuff. Like obviously that's just words, but like again, I did love him. So it's just like it's hard to hear that stuff. Before like I even posted the first story time, I tried blocking like everyone that I knew of from our school, but apparently some people are finding it that he knows, and so I need to go back and like make sure to block them just because I don't care if strangers know because nobody knows his name or anything, but I don't want people that he knows knowing. He might be upset with me for posting this, so like I'm sorry, but I don't know. I'm not that sorry because he did do all this. Okay, here's the final hair. I do just want to say like I do feel a lot better than I did a couple of days ago. And it's honestly just like I've been praying a lot for peace of mind and just peace in general. Also, for everyone that was asking in the last video, this is the Conier curling wand. So yeah.
Would you believe me if I told you that my ex cheated on me and bedailed me while doing it? Well, he wasn't doing it with the girl, but he was on a date. And God said, no, baby, you were going to find out about this. So 7 o'clock comes around. He texts me. He's like, hey, I'm going to take a nap. This is very normal. He always takes. I'm like, all right, cool, whatever. Like, I'm at Home Depot being Bob the Builder. I'm buying some stuff for my apartment. And I get home and I set the stuff up and everything, you know. And I had just texted him, like, are you up? Like, I'm thinking he's asleep, right? I'm like, hey, are you up? Like, I want to show you. And no response. I kid you not, 5 minutes later, I get a phone call. And the phone call is from him. And I was like, perfect, let me show him what I did. Instead of like, I answered the phone and then I clicked FaceTime and nobody answered. And so all I hear is like muffling and like a lot of movement. And you know, like when you butt dial somebody, but he's supposed to be asleep. And it sounds like he's at an arcade and I hear a girl laughing, kikiing. And bitch, what? Hello? I'm like, hello. No response. I just hear a bitch kikiing in the back. And somebody said it's $30 a game. Put two and two together, bitch, you're on a date. And you took the girl bowling to the arcade. God knows what. And then he says, oh, that's how you want to get started? So disgusting. And I was like, wait, what the fuck? Mind you, this caught me off guard. You're supposed to be asleep. He was indeed not asleep. I'm blowing his phone up. Call. I call his mama. And I said, hey, do you know where your son is? And she said, no, but I can call him. Cool, period, Miss Mom. He didn't respond to her either. I probably called this man about 20 times. I have 2 different phones. Call him 20 times from both phones. No response. I'm like, this was comedy. I'm calling my friends. I'm like, yo, this happened. I don't know. Like, am I tripping? What is going on? Help me decipher this. Help me figure this out. Everybody's telling me the same thing. You're not tripping. Because part of me thought I was tripping. I was like, wait, like, I don't think he would do me like that. But shit, one thing a man will always do is do you like that. And so about 2 hours later, around 10 o'clock, I get a call. Who's the call from? Him. In the sleepy voice. What's going on? What do you mean what's going on? I was like, where are you? Where were you? He said I was asleep. I said, oh, that's not. It wasn't giving a sleep. And so I'm pressing him. I'm like, so where were you? He's like, he's dying on this hill that he was asleep. I think he almost believed it himself that he was asleep. Honestly. I said, oh, so what was this? He said, I don't know. I was watching a movie. I said, oh, what movie? He said, Baby Boy. I said, okay. So find me the clip where Baby Boy says exactly what I heard. And he's like, what? Like, what's going on? Like, he's not believing that I heard him out with another bitch. And he is up and down. That did not happen. Lying, just lying. And I chose not to believe him, which I'm glad I didn't. So I don't really talk to him like very much for the next week, maybe 2 weeks, because I'm upset and you lied to me. But I still can't prove how he lied to me because he's not telling me the truth. So I just know what I heard. And my body was telling me that I was right. 2 weeks goes by and he's on a trip with his family. During this trip, I'm getting calls like please, like, I want to fix this. I want to do this. And I'm like, show me some fucking valid evidence. Like, show me some proof. Give me the facts. Give me the facts. And he's just not coming up with nothing. So I'm like, I cannot believe you. I believe myself. I choose myself. I love me. Crying on my phone, please. He gets back and calls me. Same thing, crying, like, please give me another chance. Like, I'm sorry. I said, no, this is not happening. We're not together. Like, that's when I was like, no, we're done. Like, I'm done. Like, evidence or not, I'm done because you're not doing nothing to help. Cool. Another week goes by. I'm, doing my due and I drop my joint. And you know what that means. Right. So I go to Tickety Talk and I go through the people who follow him. And this girl's page is glowing, girl glowing. Like it's like boom, 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 boom. And I'm like, fuck. So I go to the page, then go to the Instagram and I'm like, oh. And part of me already knew the answer. And I just didn't want to admit it to myself. So what did I do? I texted her. I said, hey girl, I don't want to be so upfront or so like straightforward, but my boyfriend's cheating on me. And do you know him? This is his name. It's 1 a.m. I have anxiety. My jaw is like my body is like shaking. I'm in like shock. Like, oh my gosh. I try to go to sleep. I'm struggling to go to sleep. I wake up. I have work in the morning. It's 9 a.m. What do I open my eyes to? Ding, a text from her. She said, oh yeah, I do know someone by that name. Could you send me a picture? Why, yes, I can. I sent her a screenshot of his TikTok because you follow him on TikTok, just to avoid any confusion. She responds, yeah, I do know him. You guys are dating? You guys are dating? Babe, we were together for 4 years. We're not just dating. Like, dating is like we're going out on dates, having dinner. No, we were in a full-blown relationship for 4 fucking years. Cool. I'm asking like 1,000,001 questions because I'm like, wait, I was right. And she's answering them, but very ambiguously. And I'm like, girl, I need some more. I need some depth, like something. So I tell her, hey, can you hop on a call with me whenever you have some time? I'm nervous as fuck. She said, yeah, I can. After this interaction, I call this man up. I'm like, hey, what the fuck? You're lying. Mind you, we haven't spoken in like a week or two. Clocked his shit. He starts bullshitting. He's like, no, that girl is from a job that I used to work at. She's been wanting me and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, the girl done already told me what you did. Just admit it. Lying, lies. And more lies. And at this point, I know everything I need to know. And he's still lying to me. Like I'm stupid. Which I'm definitely not that, babe. He starts opening up and telling me slight little truths, but nothing like really truth. I get off the phone with him. The girl's like, hey, I can call you at 11 o'clock. I said, all right, bet. I came with dates. I came with times and everything. I said this and this day. It was August 26th, 8 p.m. Were you with him? This was the day that I got the butt dial. She said, yeah, I was with him. I said, what were you guys doing? She said, we went to an arcade/bowling alley. I said, oh, was the total $30? Because I very much remember the cashier said each game is $30. So she said, actually, yes. How did you know that? I said, well, I heard it on the phone call. And she was a very sweet girl. She answered every question that I had. And with no like animosity. So good vibes to her. And I was like, hey, can you send me screenshots of the times and like the dates so that I can send it to him because he's still lying to me, which he was. She said, yeah, bet. Send me like 5 screenshots. Mind you, I have to read the conversations that they're having. I'm literally like disgusted. I'm like, this is so cringe. This is how you get bitches. Like, this is how you pull. Bro, I couldn't even read it. I was so disgusted. So I sent it to him and I was like, hey, so now you can't run anymore. Now you're going to be blocked because you're lying and you just lie for no fucking reason. Just tell me the truth. We had already broke up and he was still lying. Part 2 of how I found out my ex was cheating on me. I gave him 3 chances basically to tell me the truth. And every time it was a lie. And basically I cornered him. He had nowhere to go. And I sent the messages and I was like, it was like 5 screenshots of messages, each with times and dates and the time that he went on the date and the time that he got back and things that were said during the date. And mind you, they hung out 3 fucking times. 3 times. He's boohoo crying and still hanging out with the bitch and still lying to me. The time that I found out was actually the second time they hung out. They had hung out previously the day before. So like, I'm like, damn, he's really into her. You're going out of your way 2 days in a row? Damn. Like, where was I? Shit. Mind you, I forgot to mention we are long distance and I'm in LA. I'm not going to disclose where he is, but he's not in LA and we're long distance. Like, He finally was like, yeah, I did it. And I fucked up and I'm not a man. Right after I told you that 5 times already. After I cussed him out. Mind you, I'm not even like that. Like, I'm not a crazy person. I'm not that crazy girlfriend. Like, I'm not. So for me to get out of character like that and cuss him out, girl, that shit had to be. Mind you, I feel so disrespected because damn, I had to get the girl to tell me. I had to find the girl. Then be like, hey, so my man is cheating on me. Is it you? Like, it's just an uncomfortable situation. Nobody wants to be put through that. And so I was just like, I hope it was worth it, my love. Like, if you were going to throw a 4-year relationship away with a boss baddie bitch with her own business who got her shit somewhat together, like, shit, you must not love yourself. I feel like that's really what it comes to. Anyway, I finished cussing him out and I blocked him. Block him on my business page, my nail page, my phone numbers. Everywhere that he can be blocked, he is blocked. Because you got me fucked up. I want to say 3 days later, I get some flowers sent to work. Mind you, I'm not at work. Beautiful, beautiful flowers. Red roses, like really, really nice. I'm just like, girl. And the owner of the suites that I work at, she sent me a picture. She said, these got delivered for you. I'm like, girl, be so fucking for real. What is flowers gonna do for this situation? Like, what was the point? Anyways, the flowers didn't do nothing to me. I love me a good flower. They did die very, very soon. So, you know what that means. A few days go by and I had unblocked his number. And I was like, I need you to tell me everything that happened as it happened, and I can ask any single question that I want to ask. And you need to be detailed. Because I feel like that's the least you could do. You already done lied to me. Mind you, I'm not going to believe half of the stuff he says if it doesn't align with what the girl says, because you already lied to me. It was just more for him to really say it to me with his mouth and like just have to own it. Like, bitch, you did it. So now tell me what the fuck you did. After this, he's like, is there a chance we can get back together? Like, please, please. I'm just like, babe, I was literally bedridden for like a whole day. Lost 15 fucking pounds. Like, and you think you could fix this? You were hanging out with a whole nother person. Going on dates. Miss me with that, please. And there's really not much more to it because I left it. Because if you're not adding to my life, please get the fuck out. Walk out. The door's open. I will walk you out and close the door. Thank you.
I cheated on my ex. Sorry, did I get you? Do I want to tell this story? I really did cheat on my ex, and I don't think that it's a funny haha situation because I don't think cheating is funny at all. And this is one of the reasons why I haven't never told the story, is because it's just like one of my greatest like shames of my life, if you will. Even though I've been through therapy and I've been like, yeah, no, I completely understand. And if you know, you know. Like, I completely understand why I did it. It still doesn't make it okay. But I want to tell the story because I was listening to Call Her Daddy, Jesse Draper. In the whole damn interview, I'm sitting here just like triggered. I'm like, did we date the same person? Except you were married and I almost married mine. I don't know. My friends know the story. And I do consider you guys my friends. I know it's like very parasocial of me to say that. But like, I genuinely, you guys have shown me that y'all love and trust me and support me. Even when I'm not someone I think who should have been supported, y'all still believed in me and you still ride or die for me. And I really appreciate that. And this is something I've never shared with you because I was so ashamed by it. But now that I've grown, it's like, okay, but you know what? This is a learning experience. So let me tell the story about how I cheated on my ex. My ex was emotionally abusive. Definitely, like, I tried to leave him so many times and he would always cry. We would get into these huge fights. We fought often. And then he would, convince me to stay, say all the right things, like, oh, I'm gonna change, da-da-da-da-da. I was also 19 when I met him, but being so young, and he's 31 years old, so he's 12 years older than me. Whenever he would tell me, like, you are not a good girlfriend, you're not a good person, you're not talented. I really wanted to be an actress, and I did act for a little while, but he'd be like, you're not really talented, you're not gonna really become anything. Like, I believed him because I believed that he loved me and he was trying to help me and da-da-da-da-da. So, and never once did it cross my mind that he was doing that on purpose until we had our final breakup conversation that like last 3 hours, and he was like, oh yeah, by the way, I've held you back and I always have, and I did it on purpose because I didn't want you to move to LA and leave me. I wanted you to stay at home and take care of me like you've always done. When he proposed, I remember like I waited 7.5 years for him to propose, and I was like, finally, like, God, I thought this was exactly what I wanted. But then, you know, when push comes to shove and I'm sitting here and I'm thinking and I'm imagining our future, I always came to the same conclusion. It was like, we're probably gonna end up divorced. I hated that feeling, but I didn't want to leave, you know? I don't know if you've ever been in that situation, but you just don't. I did not want to leave. I was terrified. I literally couldn't sit down and imagine the next day without him in it, like my life without him in it, and not in a romantic way, but in a literal way. Because for 8 years, he was there when I woke up in the morning. He's there when I made my coffee in the morning. He was there when I was working. Like, the man was in the life. So how is he, all of a sudden he's not? I couldn't fathom it. So it took me a while. Then one night in the middle of the night, actually I will never forget this. It was a Saturday. It was 1:38 a.m. God woke me up because I was dead asleep. And he was like, go check on my ex's name. We'll leave it anonymous, even though 99% of y'all know who his name is. Anyways, but Voldemort. We'll say Voldemort. Right. I forgot. Go check on Voldemort. What a sentence. Okay, and so I took it upstairs, and sure enough, I sat there for about 20 minutes peeking around the corner, and he was watching Corn, doing what he used to do. There was like 20 tabs open, and he would just go back and go all the things. That full story is like a full 30 minutes. So anyways, the floorboard creaks. He slams his laptop shut, turns around. Now all of a sudden he's mad at me for snooping. We get into this huge fight, and I'm just like, okay, At the end of the day, be honest with me. Is this just a fluke, like a one-night thing, or have you gotten into a habit and you're really good at hiding this habit? And he was like, this is my new routine, and you don't know anything about it, and So basically he was like, I live a double life. His new routine that he hid from me, he'd been doing for years. So yes, it was like a double life. Don't you dare come for me. I said what I said. And then I said, okay, well, I told you that I was not gonna marry you if you're still addicted to corn. So what are you gonna do? Didn't really get an answer. The next day, he gets a call from a film studio. They're like, we have a job for you, but we need you to fly out like tomorrow. And he did, and he was gone for 30 days, and that was my answer. In less than 48 hours, he was gone. And that's what the relationship was. Like, he was always gone working. And what do you think he was doing while he was working? Right. So this was, I think it was like October, maybe September. And I knew that was my answer. His answer was he was gonna work, and this was gonna be my life. And I either had to learn to just like, we were married and had separate lives and didn't really love each other, or I could leave. And so I knew in that moment I had to leave. Was I sick to my stomach? Yes. This was also COVID times. He had just lost his stepmom, and it was gonna be the first Christmas for the whole family without her there. And it was devastating. And I didn't want to end the whole engagement, and like everyone's like, going to be affected by this. So I was like, I can't do this then, like before Christmas. So there was, y'all are going to kill me. My friend, my best friend, my maid of honor, knew what I was going through. She knew everything. She was such a good friend. She was like, let's go out. And we went out, you know, anytime he was not home, she's like, you're not going to be at home lonely. Let's go out. So we would go out, and while I'm going out to the domain, and you're going to kill me. And I want to cry. There was a door guy crying, who I thought was so cute and was literally my type. So complete opposite of Voldemort, all right? And we had flirted with each other, and I allowed him to flirt with me, and I flirted back, and because in my mind, you already know, the relationship was over. It was done. But I hadn't had the balls yet to really end it. So on the night I decided that I was gonna end it, I feel like I needed this. Like, I needed liquid courage. I needed something so strong that I couldn't go back. Because I had tried to end it with this man for so long. Like multiple times, and I always took him back. Like it was so annoying. So I was like, I need something firm for me. So I ended up getting drunk and sleeping with this dude, spending the night at his house, and somehow my ex knew. Like, he was blowing me up the next day. Like, he just knew. It was kind of crazy. I gotta say, it was crazy because he never cared what I did. He did not give a shit if I went out. He didn't care. But then the next day, he like knew. I was like, I cheated on you. Like, I cheated on you. I want to break up with you. And he was like, okay, let's go to couples counseling. I have been begging this man for years to go to therapy, not even if it's not just with me, but on his own, like years and years and years, like, just go get help, please. And then go with me so that we can work on our relationship. And on the end of it, when I am trying to leave, then he finally says, okay, we can finally go. No, I don't think you understand me. I slept with a man so that you would get so mad at me that you would be like, get out of my house. And I'd be like, okay. And I would have to, and it still didn't work, but he still wanted me. He still wanted me to stay. And I'm so glad that I didn't. I mean, look at me now, but yeah. And that's why I cheated, I'm not gonna lie. It was also kind of like this feeling of, oh my God, someone finds me attractive, someone thinks I'm funny, someone isn't criticizing me 24/7. If you've ever had to try to have SE la with someone who's addicted to corn, let's just say you're lacking in that department. For me to have a rebound like that was like, oh, it's gonna be okay. Do you know what I mean? I don't know how to explain that, but yeah, I did. I hated myself for it. I really hated myself for it. There's really no excuse for it. Was it the right thing to do? Looking back, actually, unfortunately, yes. But I wish that I hadn't, because he also held that over my head for so many years. Like, and I bet he still does. I bet he tells everybody, well, she cheated on me. Yeah, I did, bitch. You sucked as a boyfriend. Like, what are you talking about? For like a decade, you stole from me. Yeah, I cheated on you. Cry about it. Oh my God. Sorry. Don't make me cry.
Get ready with me while I do a little story time on how my very first traumatic EMS call turned into my boyfriend at the time, texting his ex and cheating on me. So I was a baby EMT, and an ambulance call came in right at the end of my shift for someone who was unresponsive. My ambulance partner and I get to this house. We knock on the door, nobody answers. We open the door, say, hi, is anyone here? It's EMS. If you're here, where are you at? No answer. So we go inside this house, and it is weird and creepy. It's giving like insane asylum. It's giving sterile. The floors are white, the walls are white, but there's beautiful vases and antique furniture pieces everywhere. There's not a dish in the sink. It looks unlived in. It looks like a museum. It's insane. It was so clean. It was really creepy. Again, we're like, hello, is anybody here? It is dead silent in here. You could literally hear like a pin drop in there. So my ambulance partner and I go upstairs in this house, and we find a woman in what looks like a bedroom. Again, the upstairs is just as like clean and like pristine as the downstairs. But we find this woman slung back in a chair out of vanity. It looks like someone had drawn like makeup on her. It looks like someone took eyeliner and scribbled it around her eyes. It looks like someone took lipstick, scribbled it around her lips and mascara, and just like threw it on. She was also wearing lingerie, and she was completely unresponsive with her eyes just open, looking up. It was so unbelievably creepy. I end up checking for a pulse. The patient did have a pulse, but she was breathing like really slow. So we call for a paramedic. Everything happened. She gets taken to the hospital. Still don't really know exactly like what happened to her, but it was like a very, very creepy scenario. And it was like pretty triggering for me, because I do have experience with someone putting date rape drugs in my drink, and it just really like reminded me of that for some reason. So after the call is over, the patient's to the hospital. Like I said, I don't really know what happened with her after that, but I text my boyfriend, now ex obviously, and say, hey, like I just had this call. It really freaked me out. It's bringing up like some bad memories, and I'm just having a really hard time like dealing with this. I should have known to dip out, because his response was that he is not able to help me emotionally. What he did say, though, was that his ex-girlfriend, who was also a paramedic at the EMS company that we worked for, we'll call this ex Tiffany, she would help me out. He would text her, get a hold of her, and see if she could help me, because he didn't know what to say. He was unavailable to help me emotionally. Mind you, my ex had been in EMS for 12 years and seen far worse things than that, and don't know, he was drawing a blank for this one. Anyway, Tiffany gets to the station, we're chatting, and immediately the vibes with her are like so off. Like, I can tell that she was like low-key making fun of me, or maybe didn't think that it was like relevant or like justified that I was reacting so poorly to this call. I read the body language, I read the tone, so I just kind of, I was like, I'm fine, whatever. And I went home and dealt with it myself. So a couple days go by, the weekend rolls around, and my boyfriend, now ex, comes over to my apartment. I tried to get in his phone for something, and I noticed that his phone password is changed. Immediately, I'm like, all right, something's off. We had been together like 6 to 8 months, knew his phone password, didn't really ever feel the need to look through his phone because trust wasn't broken at the time, but I just had a feeling something was off. Guess who was right? Me. So I knew he always kept an iPad on him, and I figured, okay, if there's anything weird in the messages, they would be synced up to his iPad, his iMessage, and I can just take a peek in that and make myself feel better. If there's nothing there, I'll let him know, hey, I was feeling insecure, I looked through your iPad, I'm sorry, I'll ask you next time. We never got to that because there were in fact messages hidden in the iPad, and there was a reason why the phone password was changed. After a minute of scrolling, I see the message thread with Tiffany, and something tells me to click on that. So I clicked on the messages, scroll up from the night that I had that really horrible EMS call. He texts her saying, hey, I think she's being a little dramatic. Can you just go over and check on her? She's not handling this call well. Somehow that turns into how I'm psychotic and my ex would never have kids with me. They go on to talk about how they wish they could have worked it out. He wishes he never broke up with her. Side note, he told me about this ex previously. He said that he broke up with her because she was psychotic and had way too much drama, and he just didn't like her. He didn't love her. So anyway, keep scrolling and find those types of messages. I wish we could have been together. I wish I would have never broken up with you. I would love to see where we're at today. They had been broken up for years at this point. So you can imagine my surprise when I'm completely okay with this guy being friends with his ex, and then they're kikiing in that kind of way. She also had a whole husband and a kid. I honestly didn't feel any sort of way about them being friends and them talking because she had a whole husband. And she's low-key kind of agreeing and kind of saying the same things back, which was super shocking. So I do end up confronting him. He apologizes, a whole spiel about how he's not right mentally and blah, 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 whatever. I ask him, hey, can you please block her on Snapchat? I see you guys have been Snapchatting. I'm not comfortable with that given the messages that were sent back and forth. He's like, okay, yeah, sure, I'll block her. A couple days later, he adds her right back and they're Snapchatting and sending kissy faces, which crazy. But I still stayed, never really fully moved past it. But I have 4 more years of stories exactly like this and worse. So if you thought this was entertaining and want to hear how I stayed around when I was treated like that, give me a follow because there's going to be a lot more videos just like this, but crazier. All right. Thanks for watching. Bye.
Let me tell you about the time I found out I was getting cheated on. I'm going to put a date on it just because I still don't know who the girl is to this day. But it was April 16, 2021, and he lived. So at this point, we were together for a minute, but I was in school in New York. So I basically traveled back and forth a lot. But this weekend specifically, I was staying in New York because he had something going on that weekend and I was not going. So I just stayed in New York. Basically, his plans fell through. He was going through a lot, and he was like, I really need you to come home. I really need you. I need you. All this, But I think at the time, I couldn't leave. I had to leave later on that day, later Friday, because I must have had something to do. But I was like, you know what? I'm going to be there. I'm going to get there later, though. So I think I didn't get in until about 2 a.m. And then when I come home, I always come to my house first and get my car, and then I'll drive to his house. But by the time I got in, it was so late. And before he even reached, he was like, just come early in the morning because I'm about to go to sleep. This around 9, 10 o'clock. And that was very weird for him because he never went to sleep early. He was always a night owl. So yeah, he was going through a lot. So he's like, I'm going to sleep early. First red flag, number 1. Mind you, I had my alarms up then, but I'm like, But he's like, no, can you come early, 7 a.m., 8 a.m., 5? Okay. So I'm like, cool. So I woke up early the next day. Mind you, didn't hear from him the rest of the night. So I took myself to sleep too. I woke up bright and early, set an alarm to get to my man because I'm like, my man. That's the kind of girl I am. And I'm like, let me hurry up and get to him. I swear I got to this man's house at 7:30 a.m. I know for a fact I got there that early because I remember we went right back to sleep when I got there. So yeah, finally we wake up again and then, we're just doing our day together. But remember, I'm still in school. So at this point, I'm like, let's say maybe it's around like 1 or 2 now. And I'm like, oh, can I see your laptop? Because I got to turn in this assignment. Like something alarmed in me like, oh, I got an assignment to turn in. So I was like, let me just do the assignment over here because I did not bring my computer. I didn't bring nothing. So I'm just like, let me see your computer to do my assignment. So he like, all right, cool. Give me his computer, everything. I'm doing, like, I open it up, doing it, whatever. I don't know if y'all know, MacBooks really be setting people up or helping us out. Either way. Open this computer and like the messages come across, like if you haven't opened your computer in a long time, the messages be coming through like on the side. Y'all know what I'm talking about? Like as soon as you open it, the messages kind of come on the side, like the ones you missed basically. So there was a message from this number that was not saved and it said, I'm outside. The message came in at 3:32 a.m. So you know me. I clicked on the message because who was outside at this time when you were supposed to be asleep?
The story of how I got cheated on actually happened a couple days ago. I'm just gonna explain the day I got cheated on. I'm not gonna really explain the whole relationship because I feel like that's just a waste of time, just like he was. If anyone's going through something similar, you aren't alone. This happened Saturday night. That was the day I passed my real estate exam. And I was so happy. I was so excited. And I'm thinking like, oh my gosh, like he's gonna take me out to like dinner tonight. We're gonna celebrate. He's been working a lot. I'm super excited to be able to like finally go out with him because I haven't been out to dinner with him in months because his excuse is that he's always working now. I would like have these moments, where I would like cry at him because I was so sad. We were so on and off for years. I was just like, I really don't feel like appreciated and loved. Your girl was really going through. Also, the pregnancy hormones don't help. He's like, we'll go to dinner soon. Like, we'll do it soon. We'll do something soon. Like, brushing me off or being like, why are you trying to start an argument? Do a lot for you. You paying for my fast food when we're together is doing a lot for me. You barely see me. The last time I got flowers was months ago at the beginning of my pregnancy. The last time you took me to dinner was months ago at the beginning of my pregnancy. I'm 7 months pregnant now. What are you talking about? Okay, that was like a little bit of backstory for you. Sorry, got off topic there. But essentially the night of, which was our last Saturday that just passed, I was really excited. I was thinking all day he was gonna take me to dinner, and I was just like waiting for him to ask. He actually didn't ask me to go to dinner. He actually asked me to go meet his boss. I guess he never met his boss in person before because they work remotely. I was like, yeah, go ahead. Like, go meet your boss. I know you've been working a lot. His schedule was 9 in the morning to 9 at night. Or so I thought. And I was like, yeah, go ahead. Like, go meet your boss. Like, you do you. I feel bad. Like, he never sees his friends. Like, you know what? Take a break, go. He asked me, like, at night, and I was like, are you going to drink? Like, is that why you're going at night and not tomorrow morning when work starts? Like, why are you spending the night at your boss's house? Right? Why are you spending the night at your boss's house? And he essentially said, oh, because I don't want to drive super early in the morning. I have to leave early because I'm all the way over here and I don't want to leave super early in the morning and I don't want to be tired. So they offered for me to just sleep over. Let me just wake up and we cold call all day. And I was like, okay, yeah, sure. He was like, there's no drinking. There's nothing going on. It's just going to be me and my boss and my friend from high school. I was like, okay, sure. So all of that was a lie. Every single thing he told me was a complete and utter lie. There was drinking, first of all, that I didn't know till the next day. And it wasn't just his friend from high school. It was actually his other friends that I knew that are awful influences that actually are club promoter in LA. Why would I want my boyfriend when I'm pregnant being around a club promoter? I wouldn't. So I would never say yes to that, and he knew that. So he withheld that information from me. He got there at around like 10 o'clock p.m. He wasn't really texting me when he got there. The photos he would send me would just be of him and like the ceiling. Like he would take a picture of his face like this and just the ceiling. Like I couldn't see his surroundings. He obviously wasn't sending me like pictures of him with his friends because there was so many people that I didn't know were going that were there, and he didn't want me to see that. I honestly thought nothing of it. I was trying to be like really trusting and like a really good girlfriend, and like him and I had like a big talk prior to him going about like trust and stuff. I was like, wow, like no way we're like moving forward in life together. Like we're actually like starting to trust each other. Like this is like great news. I got dogged when I trusted him. So he gets there at around like 9-10 p.m. and we're texting, but every like 30 minutes until 1 a.m. I stayed up. I really wanted to go to bed at 11 p.m. I'm pregnant and I don't want to be awake until 1 a.m. in the morning, but I was because he wasn't answering my text messages. I told him good night at like 1 a.m. He said good night, I love you, whatever. And then I had his friend from high school. I had his Snap, and his friend from high school had his location on for me. And this kind of worked out in my favor that his friends didn't know about me. He didn't tell his work friends. He didn't tell his boss. His family didn't know. His friends didn't know. Still don't know. So like, why would his friend like be extra precautious if he doesn't even know we're together? He's not. His friend had his location on for me. I woke up at like 8 in the morning and I was like, oh, where's his friend's Bitmoji? It's not next to my boyfriend's Bitmoji and they're at the same house. Where's his friend's Bitmoji? I actually searched up his friend's name and it pinpointed me all the way to Hollywood. It said his friend was last active 5 hours ago and I was up at 8 in the morning. So that was at 3 a.m. that his location was last pinged in Hollywood. I don't know how long they were all out there for because it was pinged at 3 a.m. So they probably got home at like 4 or 5 in the morning. Saw that when I woke up, and my boyfriend was still sleeping at 8 a.m. when you would think he'd want to be up early because he starts work at 9 and you'd think he'd want to be punctual with his boss physically there with him, right? Like, oh, he definitely went, and that's why he's still sleeping. I'm literally just seeing red. I get up from my bed, I throw on sweats and a crew neck, and I literally drive to the location. I haven't seen his friend from high school in years. No one knows we're together. I didn't want to embarrass him, but like at the same time I already knew what happened, so I was like, if he doesn't care about embarrassing me, why would I ever care about embarrassing him? Not once has he ever like protected my name or protected me as a person. And that is so degrading as a woman. And I hate that I allowed myself to be with someone like that. But I went to the house, I knocked on the door, rang the doorbell, and his friend that I knew from years ago, the club promoter, opened the door. And I was like, oh. I said his name and he was like, oh my gosh. And then he said my name. And I was like, yeah, can you go get blah, blah, blah for me? Like my boyfriend, can you go get my boyfriend for me? And he's like, oh yeah, he's upstairs sleeping. And at this point, it's like 9:40 in the morning. Everyone in that house was still asleep when they're supposed to start work at 9 in the morning. So I was like, okay, they were definitely out all night and the boss does not care that they are not working, or maybe this whole thing was a lie. Like, I don't even know what's going on. Maybe his boss isn't even here. His boss was there for a fact because I did find out later that his boss drives a Tesla. When I walked up to the door, there was alcohol in the car, in the passenger seat and the driver's seat. There was White Claws, and I was like, okay. So there was a night full of drinking, and when his club promoter friend opened the door to answer the door, because I was there, I saw a ping pong table in the back with like little red solo cup shots, and then the big solo cups, and then White Claws, and I already knew. There was probably girls here. I don't know for a fact, unfortunately, but there was a night of drinking. He lied to me about that. They were all at the strip club. They're all sleeping. Everything is just coming to light to me as I'm at this house, like seeing all of these things. So his friend goes and wakes him up upstairs, and my boyfriend texts me and he's like, why are you here? You're so fucking weird for that. Like, now everybody knows. Like, what are you doing here? I'm gonna call the cops on you. I was like, yeah, go ahead, call the cops, because there's underage drinking here, first of all. Second of all, there's drunk driving. here in your boss's car. If you want to go make him a criminal, call the cops. The owner of the house has not told me to leave. No one's told me to leave. Call the cops. Do it. See what happens. But he didn't end up calling the cops because he knows he's stupid. He never came out of the house when I was there. I waited outside for like 30 minutes. I'm pregnant. There's nowhere to sit. I'm in a sweatshirt and it's getting really hot. Because at this point it's like 10 a.m., 10:30 in the morning, and it's really warm here. I'm just waiting out there for him to come out, to speak to me, to not be like a little pussy bitch. But he is one never fessed up to anything. I texted him, not showing him the proof of having his friend's location at the strip club. I was just like, I know you're at the strip club. And he's like, what? No, everyone was here all night. What are you talking about? And I sent him the screenshot, and then he's like, oh, I wasn't at the strip club. He just kept lying. And then I basically just told him, I hate you. I want nothing to do with you. You're disgusting. And then obviously I already knew he was telling his friends, like, oh, she's crazy. Like, why is she here? Just making me look literally psychotic. But karma does have a way. I just wanted to make this video to remind other women that you're not alone. I'm pregnant and this evil motherfucker did this to me.
What's up, you hoes? I'm not gonna lie, I am having a bit of a rough morning, so I have the perfect solution. I am no longer having a bad morning.
When I was in high school, I had a threesome with my best friend and her boyfriend, who I was also sort of in love with. Let's talk about it. So I'd actually known her boyfriend for way longer than I knew her. Like, we kind of grew up together, and I vividly remember in 7th grade, we were like at this little get together, and I was going to tell him that I liked him. Like, I remember like hyping myself up, like, okay, like this is gonna be the moment. I'm gonna tell him we're gonna be together forever. Like, we're gonna get married. And I can't remember exactly like if I got too nervous or what happened, but I didn't end up telling him that night. The next day, this new girl comes in. She's beautiful. She's hilarious. Her and I become best friends. And then her and him become like infatuated with each other. Me forgotten to the sideline, which like broke my little heart. They are literally high school sweethearts together, like all the time, loved up on each other. And I'm like over here as their third wheel, fucking dying on the inside. I had this little reputation as like the makeout queen. Like, I would make out and kiss a lot of guys, but like I wouldn't take it any further with them. But like I was very open to like flirt, hang out with guys, kiss them, whatever, because like I said, I was harboring this fucking crush and this flame for my best friend's boyfriend. Towards the end of high school, we're throwing this big party. We're all pretty wasted. Me, her, him, like we are all getting pretty toasted. And I feel like we all ended up in her bedroom. Like, I think he was helping her upstairs, and I was like gonna get my stuff and like get ready to go or like get changed or something. And then she is like, you know, come on, come take a shower with me, like talking to her boyfriend. Like, obviously that's killing me inside, so I'm like, I gotta go, I gotta get out of here. And then she looks over at me and she's like, you should join us. And okay, like, I'm impaired. My decision-making skills are off. But I'm looking at him and I'm looking at her, and he's not saying no. And she invited me, so I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. I will spare you the details, but once we are all in the shower together, everyone is kissing everyone, okay? It's just like a big kiss fest. It's getting weird, okay? And here's where the biggest mistake was made, okay? Is because she is like, all right, I'm gonna get out. And we stayed in there for a little while longer. And what I'm about to tell you is probably going to make you not like me at all, okay? But once we both get out of the shower and we go to the bed where we're all going to sleep, she's already asleep. This is where more bad decisions were made, but if you want to find out what happens, you're gonna have to ask for part 2.
My name is Reese. I'm 29 years old, and I became a single mom to 3 babies 1 year ago at just 2 months postpartum. Shortly after my husband and I celebrated our 6-year wedding anniversary, he told me he was leaving me, and then shortly after I found out he had been cheating. Wasn't really shocking because he cheated on me our entire relationship, but it was shocking that he was leaving. Anyways, that's not what I'm here to talk about. I'm a stay-at-home mom for 7 years. His mom told me all the time that I needed to make sure that I had a backup plan. And maybe that should have been a huge red flag, but she always told me that I needed to have my own money and my own runaway fund, essentially. And I'm here to tell you that is so true. You, as a stay-at-home mom, if you have any access to money at all, save it. I'm not here to scare you. I'm not here to say, like, you're doomed, you're destined to get a divorce. But as someone that has been there, I'm giving you this advice. Being a stay-at-home mom is a luxury, obviously, for everybody involved. It's an amazing thing. I absolutely love it. It's a great thing. However, that is how someone takes advantage of you. Because they're paying the bills, they're doing all these things, and at the end of the day, you have nothing. You have nothing if they decide that they don't want you anymore. The hand that feeds you is also the hand that will starve you. And again, I'm not saying that to scare you. I'm just saying the reality of it is it's a possibility. And unfortunately, as stay-at-home moms, you're vulnerable. You are so vulnerable. Like, that's just the way it is. I don't know if you've ever heard the saying, but the saying is, the person that you divorce is not the same person that you marry. That is so true. It is terrifying. It is scary. Truly, it is scary that you divorce a stranger. You will not know that person. They will not be the same person. And that's why I'm so grateful for all the horrible, horrible things that have gone on in the last year to make me never look at that person the same. We genuinely just share children. That's it. That's the only thing we have in common is we share children. We maybe share memories, but even that is like, it's just not the same anymore. And it's sad. It really is, because when you think about like the potentials of things that could happen, you don't think that, you know, you can't even have a conversation with the person you have children with. But those are realities. You're probably never going to be able to talk to that person again. And honestly, it's probably a good thing. But those are things you need to think about. I saw a girl in here recently saying how her husband had asked for a separation and he was cutting off her card. I know what that's like. And it's so terrifying. It's scary. And you don't know what you're going to do. But you figure it out. You really do. You really do. You really figure it out. And as scary and as terrifying as it is, you have to. There's literally no other option. There is no other option than to just fucking figure it out. Excuse me. There's no other option than you just figuring it out. Truly. And that is where you learn the most. That is where you become the strongest. In the literal depths of the dump is where you're going to learn to be strong. So if you're currently a stay-at-home mom, I'm not trying to scare you, but make sure that you have a runaway fund. Make sure you have something set up for you. Maybe it's a little part-time job. Maybe it's a little side hustle or a side business or whatever. But make sure that you are also taking care of you, because you never know and you never want to be blindsided like that. You never want to be put in a vulnerable position like that, because it's horrifying. It is literally the worst thing ever, and I wouldn't wish it on anybody. So would I ever be a stay-at-home mom again? Probably not. Did decide to be a stay-at-home mom someday when I'm remarry, hopefully. I would get a part-time job, and I would save that money and put it in a bank account. That
You can't get on the subway without getting clocked in the mouth. I mean, it smells disgusting. There are rats the size of Pomeranians. It's really a horrible, horrible situation.
Yeah, I want to live there someday.
I was married and divorced twice by the time I was 32. So here's a little story time on my two first terrible husbands. I know what you're going to say. Oh, it's your fault. You said yes, you got married. But for the most part, I'm not perfect, but these were not my fault. I just also recorded this video for 9.5 minutes and it deleted, so that's great. So first husband, gonna go really fast. I met him at a pizza shop when I was 17 years old. I had just graduated high school. He was 10 years older than me. He got a job delivering pizzas at nighttime. Couldn't stand him when I first met him. Everybody that lived in that pizza shop ended up moving into a big 2-story house and renting rooms. He ended up moving there as well. We ended up talking. You know how it goes. We ended up dating. We moved out. We were thriving, even though he was always abusive pretty much since the time we moved out, verbally and physically. A little bit of a trigger warning. So we moved out. We got custody of his 2 kids, who were 1 and 2 at the time. And my parents had divorced. My dad decided he wasn't going to talk to me for a couple years because he was really bitter and didn't have good coping skills. And so I feel like I might have gravitated towards this man because I was manipulated, and also probably because I was lacking that father figure. So anyways, he was verbally and physically abusive. He told me who my friends were. I wasn't able to talk to my friends from high school. At this point, I was 18. We got married 6 months after I turned 18. And he told me what to wear. I had to wear shorts to my knees. I had to wear big old oversized t-shirts. Oddly enough, favorite things to wear now. So anyways, he was terrible. He was terrible to me. He was terrible to his kids. I wanted to leave for a really long time, and I didn't. I didn't leave for a long time because I didn't want to leave those kids. I loved them. And for several years, I just protected myself and protected these children, and finally got to the point where I was like, I can't stay here any longer. And so I told him, hey, you know, you're so mean to me. I want a divorce. I want to leave. And he told me that if I left him, that he was going to do away with my mother. And I believed him, so I stayed. Unfortunately, a year later, my mother ended up passing away. And then about 6 months after that, I thought, what do I have to lose? And so I told him that I was leaving. Over the years, he did calm down. It more so was like throwing stuff in verbal rather than physical. Not that that's any better. I packed up my stuff and I went to my friend's house for a week. He came over. We were still talking during that week, and he's like, please, I love you, I'm sorry, I'll change this, that, and the other. Idiot me, went back to the house. He took the kids to soccer practice, said, please be here when I come back, and I was looking around the house, and I was like, this literally isn't my home. This is not where I need to be. This is not where I belong. So I packed my stuff up and I left again. This man went back to the house where I was at, and I drove a little sports car at the time. A little two-door car, went fast, and he came to the house, and he was acting really strange, like saying goodbye. And I'm like, what is this guy doing? And he got down, he brought his kids, gave them a hug and a kiss, and told them, when you don't have a dad, remember always in your heart that it was Amy's fault. He looked at me, looked at my keys that were on the counter, grabbed them, and took off running. I chased after him. We were at an apartment complex, and we were parked right next to each other. And I knew what he was going to do. He had thrown the keys to his truck, so I jumped in the truck, backed up, and kind of blocked him in from being able to get out of the parking spot. He jumped out of the car and somehow hit the window on the passenger side, and it fell off the track about halfway, and he flew into the car, or into the truck, grabbed the keys out of the ignition, and we played tug of war with him. I ended up with the little fob, and he ended up with the keys. And so he then goes to the car, and I get out, and I'm like, you know, what are you doing? Blah, 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 this, that, and the other. He gets in the car, and he tries to get me in the car with him, and I am able to get his hand off of my shirt, for lack of better words, and get away. I call 911, and he does a 1,000-point turn out of this parking spot because he's blocked in, and gets away. They pursue him down the street of our 6,000 people town. That's not right. 6,000 people lived in this town. Anyways, they chase him down Main Street, about 140 miles an hour. He ends up on a back road, and his goal was, we know what his goal was. And he was on the phone with me, or leaving me a voicemail because I was on the phone with 911, and he essentially was going to put the telephone pole in the driver's seat. He was not wearing a seatbelt. He was leaving me a voicemail at the time telling me that he was going to haunt me in my dreams and all these terrible things. And I don't know if you know this, but telephone poles are meant to snap at high rates of speed. He thought that it was just going to be in there. And so what happened is he snapped the telephone pole and ended up rolling the car about 16 times. He was airlifted to the hospital with a broken spine, and the back of his head was smashed in. I go to the hospital, and he kind of had a crappy family, and he had 3 cousins. 2 of them did not like me the whole 5 years we were together. And the doctor comes out and says, hey, he's asking for Amy. And so I'm going back there, and the cousins are like, we want to go back there. And the doctor says, well, it's up to her. She's the wife. And me trying, be nice or whatever, I'm like, okay, yeah, go back there with me. And he is on the bed, covered in you-know-what, and he's got the thing on his neck. And I think he's going to tell me something like I made a mistake or whatever there is to tell me. And he says, I hope you know this is your fault. And his cousins look at me, and they're like, it is your fault, and start petting his arm. I'm an idiot, and I stuck around. He was transferred to a rehabilitation center after he had, that first night he had brain surgery to get the skull out of there. And then like a week later, he ended up having spinal surgery. He's paralyzed about this far above his belly button, so he can't even sit up. He's transferred to rehabilitation center to learn to live like that. And I go with him for about 2 months. And it's not any better. Let me use choice words so we don't get in trouble here. He took utensil out of the cafeteria and brought it back to the room that we were staying in. We had like a little private room. And tried to tell me to fix something, one of the cords that was on his bed or something, I don't know. And tried to get me. And that was the final straw. I left. He made my life a living hell, had his friends pop the tires to my car. Everybody was really on his side for a long time. Eventually, that all changed, and, you know, we all saw things for how they really were. And, yeah, so to this day, he is paralyzed. To this day, I still talk to his children. And his daughter was actually the bridesmaid in my wedding to my current husband now. And he, I believe, she told me a couple months ago that he was actually arrested for domestic violence in his wheelchair. So I'm at 7 minutes. I'm going to try to squeeze in the second husband. I was single. I was doing my own thing. I was going to the gym, and I met a man. Apparently, he was a grade below me. I didn't know him. He had just gotten back from the military, and I think this was in 2011, maybe 2012. I don't know. And I had left the first husband in 2009. And so we start talking. I ask a few people about him. They're like, oh, yeah, great guy, blah, blah, blah. Quiet guy, super nice. Everybody loves him. Dad loves him. At this point, Dad's back in my life. Mother's passed away. And everybody loves him. We worked the same shift, morning shift. They needed him to work swing shift for a couple months because they were short-staffed. During that time, somebody introduced him into a white substance. He had never done anything like that before. I was unaware of it. He started coming home at like 2 in the morning instead of like 11:30 at night. And his behavior started to change. He was really aggressive. He was really mean. He was really moody. And I had talked to a couple friends about it. I'm like, maybe he has PTSD. So at this point, we're married. I'm trying to be a good wife and be understanding because I really don't know what's wrong with him. And so he's acting really outlandish and then having really odd behavior. And again, I'm going to tread lightly with my wording here. Snapchat was really big back then, and he had showed me his Snapchat, and he's like, hey, this guy who likes guys, which that's not a problem, is messaging me a lot. And I'm like, all you gotta do is block him. Like, well, why are you telling me this? One night I get up and I look at his phone and I see all these notifications from this man, and he had told me that he had blocked him a couple weeks before, and I'm like, that's weird. I'm almost approaching the 10-minute mark, so I'm going to have to unfortunately do a part 2, but it will be the final part, I promise.